Good morning. I'm Kathleen Capcara from Trinity Church, and I'm here to tell you a story about God and the people of God. But before we listen to a story, we need to be ready. It's really helpful, especially in godly play stories. We can listen with our eyes and our ears and our hearts and especially our imaginations. But to get ready, to listen, I like to listen to the sound of this singing bowl. And when I can't hear it anymore, I've had a time to take a couple of breaths and really get ready to hear the story or to tell the story. In the beginning, God made the heavens. God made the heavens and the earth. God created everything with love, and it was good. In the east, where the sun first appears, God planted a garden, an Eden, which means delight. God made trees and plants to grow in the garden. And there were rocks and God made a river to flow through the garden. And there were fish to swim in the river. And animals of every kind. The plants and the animals and the rocks and God were all close together, so they were a kind of all in all. And then one day, God took some dust from the earth and formed it into a person. God breathed into the person, and the person became alive from the dust of the earth and filled with the breath of God. This person was Adam, and Eve was a part of Adam. They were all so close together, they were a sort of Adam and Eve. Now, Adam and Eve were loving everything in the garden, and they felt part of it too. But there were two mysterious trees in the garden. There was the tree of knowledge. If you ate from the tree of knowledge, you would know all about differences, like up and down and good and evil. And there was the tree of forever. If you ate from the forever tree, you would live forever. Now, God told Adam and Eve not to eat from the tree of knowledge. But there was this serpent. The serpent was the cleverest of all the creatures that the Lord God made. And the serpent told Adam and Eve to eat from the fruit of the tree of knowledge. And when they did, things fell apart. They were no longer Adam Eve, but they were Adam and Eve, and they knew all about the differences. And when God came to the garden in the evening, they hid. They no longer knew how to be as close to God and to creation as they had been before. Now, they could not make something from nothing like God did, but God had given them a gift. Adam and Eve could make something from the differences. They could use what they knew sometimes to make something good. But now that things had fallen apart and Adam and Eve were not as close to God and to everything in the garden, they had to leave. They couldn't go back to the way things were, even though they longed to. God put a fierce angel and a flaming sword at the edge of the garden so that Adam and Eve could only go forward. They could not go back. But God went forward with them, and God is still traveling with us today. God helps us to make things out of the differences that we know. But Adam and Eve could not go back to the garden where they might eat from the forever tree. So Adam and Eve were made from the dust and would return to the dust. But in their lives, they could still make good things from the garden that they had remembered. Now I wonder what part of this story you like the best. I wonder what part is the most important. I wonder if you can see yourself anywhere in this story. You know, these materials start to look worn out. Maybe you can see some of the little fuzz because they are worked with so much in our classroom. And what we know is if we practice telling this story to ourselves or making a picture about the story, it fixes the story in our minds. It helps us to remember so that we can tell this story to other people. It's a very interesting and important story, and I wonder if you will think about it this week. God bless you, and goodbye.